Welcome, Vito and Seth. We're back yet again because we're in peak off-season hours.
Not going anywhere.
Yeah, we're still here. Um, we'll dive into basketball season eventually when Seth learns what a point guard is. But until then, we got some more football film to break down. I think we're looking at FAU's offense today against SMU in the bowl game. FAU closed the doors on those Mustangs. Won that game 52-28. So I think Seth, we're going to break down the offense today, right?
Yeah, so they did a bunch of, as you said, they scored 52 points on SMU, who had some trouble on defense this year, but they, against inferior opponents, they held people down pretty good. So it was a pretty good game. You can see some kind of trend watching the game and stuff. I think will probably be brought with Charlie Weiss Jr. From FAU to USF. So we can go ahead and get started on that.
In case you missed it, Charlie Weiss Jr. was Jeff Scott's hire for offensive coordinator. He called plays. Well, he was the offensive coordinator for under Lane Kiffin at FAU the last 2 seasons and has fairly extensive stops. So that's why we're going to go ahead and do this.
So we went ahead and looked at the bowl game just because that is for sure. Yeah, I believe he called plays all year. But with Kiffin getting hired away, this is like a for sure his game, So I think it's kind of a good look into maybe what he's going to do without, any Kiffin's influence over top. I'm sure he has some influence, but not probably necessarily in the game plan, and then obviously not in calling the game. So one thing I always look for when looking at offenses is a guy that's coached offenses in the past is are they sequencing things together? So we're going to start by looking how they kind of sequence some stuff together and how that kind of lets you do some things to get big plays later on in the game. So this is their first play of the game, I believe. SMU goes 3 and out and punt. So they're going to run just the snap got kind of a little late, but they're going to run jet sweep. So they have the receiver here. He's motioning. So you got jet motion. They're going to come back and run counter, which, we saw USF run a lot of counter this season. But it's mostly just this jet look. They're going to do a bunch of different things off this jet look. So it's kind of, this is the first play of the game, so this is what they start with. So you kind of see how they sequence a lot of different plays off this one look. So the first play, gets stopped for nothing. No gain, first play of the game. But that's not necessarily that big of a deal early. You're just looking to get information on how they adjust to the motion, how they're going to play the jet sweep, and then also set things up for later. So that's their first time running it. So these are mostly in sequence during the game. A few drives later, they come back and run the same thing out of a little bit of a different look, but same idea. You got jet motion here. Then you're going to have the counter coming back the other way. So you have the guard. Instead of guard and tackle, you have guard and the H-back coming back this way. And so this time you run it, you change it up a little bit, but it's the same basic thing. And one thing about this FAU offense is USF went pretty fast last year, but it was more of a get lined up fast, and then we're going to get the best look we can and call the play. FAU just goes really, really fast. They get lined up. They don't change personnel a ton, it doesn't seem like, and they call plays really quickly. So even though it's a different way to run the counter, to the defense, it looks pretty much the same. They're just seeing the jet motion and then a counter coming back the other way. So later on in the game, they're driving. They're inside the red zone. Another look at the jet sweep. Here they're going to jet. They're going to have a throw off of it, but he's going to carry out the motion and become almost like a check down or a screen out here. Again, the jet look. And then when you have guys that are good in space, they can pick up big yards. So third down, again, right here, this looks the same to the defense as the jet counter, And now I'm going to fake the counter, pull it out, throw it down here. It looks like they had the H-back coming across on play action too, but with the blitz, they just drop it down. But again, to the defense, right up to the snap, this all looks exactly the same.
I was going to say, it's almost like when you kind of, to throw it into the NCAA kind of version of this, when you kind of run these run plays over and over again to kind of get the defense to jump, because that linebacker that blitz, I think it's a linebacker that kind of blitzed hard down onto the running back number 2 there. That I'm assuming his responsibility is to take the motion receiver normally.
Well, you get like a double dip. The quarterback, and let's also not, they had some really good players at FAU too. I think this quarterback's an Oklahoma transfer, but he's a young guy too. So I think he's only had Weiss as his coach. So that's another positive. I think for USF that Weiss has had some success with transfer guys, because I think that's going to be something they're going to lean on next year, especially. But I think right here, I think what they wanted to do was kind of leak him out. And you see, one of these guys is supposed to be covering him. One of these guys is supposed to be covering that tight end coming across. And then one of these guys, one of the same guys is supposed to be covering him. But the quarterback does a good job checking it down. But again, to the defense, it all looks the same. And you see that if he has a little more time, maybe this tight end leaks down the middle of the field. Which you'll see later, they get him on something similar for a touchdown. But it all looks exactly the same to the defense at the start. So they've run jet counter, they've run jet, I'm kind of calling this jet screen or jet, there's another jet pass here. Then now they're going to actually give the jet sweep. And they add a little bit of flavor onto it by having this receiver come back like it's going to be reversed, and they just fake it. But again, the defense, they're just seeing a lot of jet motion. They've seen counter. They've seen this guy go and then throw it. And now you're seeing them actually give it, but they still add a little something onto it by having this guy come behind. Then again, if you have guys that are good in space, that always helps. That may be the guy that transferred from USF, actually.
I think I'm trying to remember what number he was. It might be him. That might be D'Lo.
He would have helped quite a bit. He would have helped quite a bit this year at for USF. He's tough in space. You'll see one later that's even better than that. So now you're thinking, and this is all sequential. So if you want to go back and look through the clips, you can see the clock. This is all in order. So you start the game with jet counter. You run a jet counter again. Then you run a pass off the jet. Now you give the jet. All right, so now I give the jet sweep, and even then I don't just give it straight. I fake reverse onto it to hold people. Setting that up for later if they don't cover it. And so now I come with a jet. So this is right after a turnover here. I've got a tight split here. Low red zone, or kind of in the red zone. They may be playing some type of man coverage, possibly. A lot of teams play man in the red zone. So quarterback can kind of watch him. What does he do with the jet? These guys are going to step up because all they've seen is they've seen a lot of jet run and jet counter. So you get the linebackers to step up. And what you're actually going to do is kind of sneak him behind here. The safety vacates with the jet sweep. And you got a one-on-one. And if your receiver wins like he does right here inside, this is an easy throw for the quarterback. He's got a ton of room.
75 yards of room to throw to him.
Because the safety ran with the jet sweep because they've been running so much. And since they threw it last time, you see, even though he knows he doesn't have the ball, he's still coming because, hey, they threw it to that guy last time. So this is a good job using motion and disguise to kind of get guys open, especially when you know you're going to get man coverage. So again, there's a jet pass off of it. And then here's later on another look at it. And this one is more like the one that they tried to get earlier that they had to check down.
And this is after halftime. So, Sonny Dykes and the offensive and defensive coordinator for SMU were able to make it. Well, we're trying to make adjustments at halftime, but.
So again, the jet sweep, he's going to carry it out. He's going to come out like he's blocking and then up the seam. And you get so much play out of the jet that you get guys to screw down. And then your tight end can run right by him. He makes a great catch, but you get him open. Just you had these guys both out of kind of out of their areas because of the jet sweep look.
It also helps having an All-American tight end.
This might have been the backup. I don't know if he played. I don't know. I can't remember if he was the. Yeah, so he's the tight end's very good, and then the quarterback. This isn't a great throw, but catchable ball. In it's not real tight quarters, but this isn't an easiest throw you can make down the field. So again, but it's all off that same look. So then this is something. This is later in the game. They add this off of it as well. When it's a 3rd and 3, they're basically going to run a tight end like flat screen off the jet motion. This is with some of their backups in. Again, jet fake here. Then he's just going to go block, and they're just going to throw it to the tight end of the flat. But this is all off the one look for the defense. And you pick up a first down late in the game. So he just blocks most dangerous. He goes flat right now. I'm sure if he's this is their kind of a better runner they have. They'll put him in for some running stuff. I'm sure he could run, but this guy closes, so he just throws it to the tight end right now for an easy conversion. And then this is just another jet sweep, just giving it, and it helps when you have a guy like this. This always makes things a little bit easier.
I was about to say when you can completely reverse field.
Yeah. And like I said, I think that he was at USF before. He would have helped quite a bit this year.
No, I can't tell is that number 1 or is that number?
I think it's
I cannot
1.
tell what that number is because D'Lo is 17. So
is it? Well, whoever number 1, I can't tell. I think it's 1, but whoever this guy is a freak. And he had a pretty good day. So
that is Willie Wright.
Well, Willie Wright is very fast.
Yeah, he is.
So he would help the USF this year too. Give us Willie and the other guy. All right, so here's so now another kind of this is another look at them sequencing things. So that was kind of that was throughout the game like a whole jet sweep sequence. So that's what I when I'm watching somebody, I like to see are they doing stuff early to set things up late. I think that's a good hallmark of a good play caller and a good scheme. If you're setting things up. If it's not just like, hey, we're just going to pound our head into the line of scrimmage and maybe we'll break one. If it's like I'm setting something up early to hit you with it late. So here's kind of another look. So one interesting wrinkle here, SMU is kind of in they have a stand-up end here. They have a guy in, looks like a 3-tech here. So FAU is going to do some like outside zone or some stretch stuff, but they're not going to read the backside end here. They're going to read actually this 3 technique, which they don't typically get read a lot. So it's a little bit, I find they might be a little bit easier to read because it's a little bit more likely to just crash on the run because they think they're just unblocked. So everyone else is kind of running like outside zone. He's going to climb to try to get the backer. So it's like a stretch read. He's going to come here, going to read his blocks, and the quarterback, use our technology here, is reading him. So he's not reading the outside guy, he's reading the number 2 guy. Again, here, the first time they run it, not great. The linebacker does a good job of avoiding the block, and he kind of forces the quarterback. All right, the quarterback pulls it. Linebacker, you can see, does a good job of getting into the hole, and he's going to force the quarterback back into that. The 3-tech he was reading. But a few plays later, like literally 3 plays later, they run it again. And now everybody's a little bit slower. Maybe I'm a little bit slower on the backside to fly across because I just saw this quarterback pull it. So now I'm a little bit slower to get there. Now that guy gets up to me, right? So this time I get blocked. They hand it off. And now there's a big gain because I'm snapping the ball so quickly and I'm kind of sequencing this stuff together. Now that's just like a simple read. So that could be, if the quarterback does it correctly, that could kind of, that should work regardless how many times you call it. But you can see it slows the linebacker down a little bit. And then here's later on in the game when they call it again, and they've been gashing him with a lot of this stretch. Look, a lot of the stretch. So they call it again later on. Reading him, you can see here, he's going to be flying down for the stretch. He knows he got beat earlier across face. He's not going to let that happen again. You have a safety that's squeezing down that probably should be the guy that makes the play. But he's even kind of gets tricked a little bit. And the quarterback pull it for like 12 or 13 here. And again, it's the same play, just reading the same guy. But you can kind of sequence together. I pull it one time, and the next time they try to play it, they try to cheat it, and then I give it the next time, and then they try to cheat it back the other way. And if they cheat, you have answers built in to make them pay. So that's always good to see too. Kind of having answers and having multiple answers in one play is always nice as well. So besides the sequencing and how they sequence the plays, the other thing they did a ton of was RPO. They ran a lot of RPO.
The buzzword of the new era of football.
And some of it, to me, it looks like, so you got inside zone here. Why I say RPO is you see guys like him climbing to the second level. They're looking to work the double team. So here you're going to have like a bubble, like a hit or like a snag route. I think just a go here, and he's going to run a hitch. So I think you can take this hitch backside anytime if you like to leverage, and there will be a time later where he'll just throw a hitch or an out route backside because he likes to leverage. But we're just running inside zone here, doubling up to him, there and there. They'll lock it on. That's another reason I think it's probably an RPO. They were going to lock that on. If it was just straight zone, he would leave this guy, So it's almost like the backside is pass protecting, the front side is run blocking. It just hits it in that hole,
I hope Weiss is a really good teacher for our offensive line then, because I could just.
I think they were doing some of this stuff towards the end of last year. The quarterback just wasn't making the throws.
Yeah.
So they did some of this stuff where they were throwing the hitches, and there were times where I think against Temple maybe on like a 3rd and 2 that McLeod hit. Oh my
Wilcox,
gosh!
I think.
Yeah, hit Wilcox for like a gain of 5 on an RPO. But they did that in other times, and the ball was thrown into the ground or thrown high when guys were open. So, and again, I think this is just like all hitches. If this guy's off, you can turn and throw this thing. I'd say it's an RPO because this tackle's like 5 yards downfield. They're probably just reading it right here.
Mm-hmm.
This might be more of like this is always built in, not as much of an RPO as a package play, to where if I have leverage right now. So if right now I see I can just catch the snap and throw this thing out there, I can do that. Otherwise, I'm running read. But he sees he can throw it out there, so maybe a package play rather than RPO, but it's pretty similar. Package is usually more, I'm reading it pre-snap. RPO is kind of a post-snap type read. But you see they're mixing run and pass calls a lot. Here's another one. Corners got off leverage. To me, the way these guys are getting, this one's kind of negligible. Like this may be a play action pass, but you're getting some movement downfield. This could be just a really good play action pass, but I think they're trying to work to the next level. But if you like the leverage on the outside there, the one-on-one, you can just pull it and throw it. But again, that could be just really well disguised play action, which if it is, that's another good sign because
God, that was a fantastic route too.
Yes. Here's another one that's more like a off the stretch here. He's gonna run just kind of like a post there. So if you get kind of play by these linebackers here. Opens up a void right there, so you can pull that and throw it. He ends up fumbling that, but we'll go ahead and cut the film for him there.
No, he caught that for a 13-yard catch, and that was it.
Yeah.
Safe face.
Another RPO right there. If the linebackers are playing it hard, you can pull it and throw it to the backside. And if you look front side, it's the same thing. He's running like a free access hitch right here. Looks like maybe a hitch there, maybe like slot fade to the top. Same thing here. Off the stretch look. That's also why you got a lot of play out of that stretch, because you got stretch look, slant, and he's almost running like a hitch. Linebackers coming here. And it helps. RPO stuff, too, can almost help you with like built-in hots, to where if I know if this guy's blitzing, that's my throw, because if that guy was coming for the run, that's my throw. And again, why do I think it's RPO, not play action? This guy's working to the next level for a backer. The back does such a good job here after he doesn't get the ball that, you're like, is that play action? But these guys are working to this next level, so I don't know. I would guess RPO. They run the same exact thing on the next play and get a pass interference call. So they use this to great effect. And then, like I said before, when you tag pass stuff on run stuff, if you get blitz, you can kind of really kill people. So here, he's kind of tagged already, because you'll see these guys up top run routes. They bring a corner blitz, and he's just able to drop it to him right here and get a big play, kind of have an answer for anything they want to do. They bring the corner, well, I'll just drop it to my guy right there who's already running out for a route. It may just change the route he runs. But other than that, he's already going out for a pass, so it doesn't change too much. And then that's kind of some of the RPO stuff. This is more of a drop back pass stuff. So again, low red zone or red zone, you're not quite sure what they're going to run, but what they're going to do here is going to release him outside and then push into the front of the goal line. He's going to kind of release inside of him and kind of curl up in front. And I think you get another post to the back here. We saw USF run a similar concept a few times.
It's almost like a flood concept. Well, not a flood.
It's not too dissimilar. It's kind of, but it's more like I'm flooding instead of maybe one side of the field. I'm flooding this is kind of flooding the middle of the field. Really. Yeah. Most people want to flood. They flood kind of the out, and you'll see they run a flood concept later. They usually flood outside the hash, but this is basically I'm putting 3 guys. Floods typically I want to put 3 guys into an area of the field and kind of overpower you the routes. It's the same idea, just now it's between the hashes here. And again, this would be a good throw by the quarterback. But the switch release, you kind of see the switch release. He ends up taking him because obviously they have a study. They've studied them. They know when they switch, they're going to pass the routes off. So them switching gets this tight end inside leverage without him having to run a great route. Now he runs a good route anyways, but he basically, all right, you got inside leverage just because we switched because this guy's so far outside already. You see that safety come up onto the number 2 receiver, and the tight end slips behind him. So here's the guy that was covering the tight ends, and I think here's the guy who ended up covering the tight end after they switched. So you see how much leverage he gets. And then again, the quarterback makes a great throw, and that guy makes a great catch. So they had a really good tight end. But you can kind of see here, this one's called from the sideline. Right now, he's coming down. He's got 1, 2, 3 is kind of how it looks, and he's outside number 2 already. You can kind of see when they switch these verticals, when you run a post, you just want inside leverage. Well, right now he's got it just because of them switching. So good design there. They end up scoring on the next play on a 1-yard run.
Fantastic throw.
And a good throw and a good catch. But a good way to kind of just use the switch releases to kind of get a guy open. Again, he's going to run kind of a pitch and then go. He's going to run a post and try to clear this out a little bit. What the quarterback's looking for here is he kind of watches him. At the snap, he's going to take off to the center. So he knows he's going to have probably this tight end on this kind of whip and go route. So another kind of – so right here, he's going there. You see the quarterback's kind of looking him that way a little bit, and he knows he's going to come back here. So basically, this tight end, if this is your stud tight end and he's your best player, you got to do what you can to get him one-on-one matchups. Not too dissimilar to what USF tried to do a lot last year. If you got a great tight end, try to get him one-on-one. Good throw and then a great catch. Which is another good design. You get the safety out, and then I know this post will clear out the corner. If not, I can throw that post. Corner clears out. I just drop it to my great tight end, and he makes a great catch. So good design on the drop back. So it's not all just play action RPO stuff. There's some good drop back stuff too. And so here's kind of the flood concept. So it looks like they're stacked, right? You got a tight end on this side, which gives problems to defense. We talked about that before. But they're going to run basically just a flood concept to that side. So we talked about it previously, right? You said, flood. Usually you flood an area of the field with 3 receivers. They're going to run him on a deep corner. He's going to run a shorter out. He's going to release inside. This guy will pass him off. He'll get vertical, and he'll become the intermediate out player. So you have a deep corner, but deep outside player, an intermediate outside player, and a short outside player is the idea. So right here, once he goes vertical, he gets passed off. He'll expand out to there. And the receiver does a good job of kind of sitting, and the quarterback makes a great throw. But he kind of sits. He doesn't run all the way out to this corner. He kind of sits a little bit in between. The quarterback makes a great throw, but it's just kind of a flood concept. So
I was about to say that killed them. That was just picking them apart at that point.
Yeah. So there's the concept, and you kind of see the throw. And that's not an easy throw right there. That guy's pretty good, but again, you're giving him options here. And so then just kind of more general run game stuff. Here's just zone slice. So I'm stepping right, kicking out the backside guy. Then, like I said, they had some pretty good players here. We talked about it a lot this season. If you can have a guy that makes a safety miss or break a tackle, make a safety miss, that's where the big runs come from. Breaks a tackle at the second level, then makes the safety miss at the third level. Kind of just outrun some people for a touchdown. So that's just basic inside zone. We've seen a lot of that. And then kind of to end on here, just in case, I don't know what kind of what the quarterback room is going to look like yet. This is their backup. I think he was more of a runner. They used him in a lot more running stuff. So just kind of get a flavor of if the quarterback next year is a better runner than a thrower. Maybe you'll see some of this kind of stuff. So this is just, quarterback counter. We're just pulling the tight end and the guard. Then again, off the jet look, jet motion again. You're going to pull inside. The quarterback can kind of read the end and then follow the pulling guard inside. There's just kind of a little different flavor whether it's backup quarterback. So if USF does have to play a running quarterback, you may see this kind of stuff. This is just like quarterback stretch. They're just running like outside zone with the back leading up. Nothing crazy. You have the back leading as well. Everyone's just stepping left. Ripping and running. And then the same kind of read they did before where they have the stretch and the quarterback can pull it. Again, reading these guys is tough because they're not typically used to playing in space that much.
Yeah.
So reading them gives them some problems. All right, so that's it.
God. No, it's incredible thinking that a 26-year-old basically he's an offensive prodigy at this point, is calling all these plays and giving all this stuff. It seems like, obviously the stories about him having the photographic memory and obviously being with, the likes of Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin for the past 3 years has definitely helped him out. But it seems like at FAU, he pretty much fit talent to scheme, given the fact that FAU got some pretty good guys the last couple of years as well.
Yeah, and what I liked when I kind of watching it is just like I said earlier, the sequencing of stuff. It's not just kind of a random smattering of we're going to try a little bit of this, try a little bit of that. It's sequenced out, and there's thought. You can see the thought behind things. Running stuff early to get looks at stuff late. Not too, and you can see after watching kind of Clemson, the USF Clemson comparison, and watching them, it shouldn't be anything that's too crazy for the guys to learn. It's not too dissimilar from what they did last year either. Maybe a little bit more RPO heavy, but that again, like you were saying, Steeg, that might be more personnel based because the quarterback was pretty good at it. Mm-hmm. If they have one of those, maybe you'll see more of that here. They tried to do a little bit last year here, and it didn't work too well. So, yeah, like he did a good job fitting it to his personnel, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of wrinkles and changes he's going to have to make here with a new group of guys.
No, absolutely no. I think it was one hell of a hire for Jeff Scott to pull him away from FAU like that. But no, I think that'll wrap up part 1 of 3 of us breaking down some film from some counterparts that we have with FAU and Clemson. So that'll end it on part 1, and we'll wrap this up, and we'll start part 2 with how FAU's defense fared against SMU in that bowl game.